G'day everybody, I'm thrilled to be here today chatting with amazing singer-songwriter Neil Murray about his upcoming performance at the National Folk Festival on Ngunnawal Country over Easter in a couple of weeks. First of all, I would just like to say I'm on Ngunnawal Country today and I would like to pay my deep respects to their elders past, present and emerging. And whereabouts are you today, Neil?
I'm in Japarong Country. It's where I'm. It's in Western Victoria. It's the area where I was born and raised. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So I feel like the songs that you've written really are folk songs. Would you agree with that analysis?
Well, in terms of folk music being the people's music, definitely, yes.
Yeah. And you know, I'm a huge admirer of your work. As I've sort of let you know, I was thinking about, you know, the theme of our festival this year is find your home, find your family, find your folk. And these last 2 years have taught us many, many things, but I think the main thing it has taught us is that at the end of the day, family is really all that matters, whatever family is for you, whether it be, you know, your biological family, your chosen family. At the end of the day, having people in your life that love and support you and that you can love and support is sort of all that really matters. And I think chatting to artists, we've all been sort of excited about getting together and seeing our folk family again, because we've all been so isolated at home. When I was thinking about the word home, I thought, well, for me, you know, our unofficial anthem is My Island Home. Would you like to tell us about where you were when you wrote that and what that song has meant to you in your life?
I know, Chestnut. It came to me on a bus travelling overnight from Melbourne to Sydney, a coach. It was June 1985.
Yeah.
But the antecedents are that I'd been living in Central Australia for 6 years at that point.
Yeah.
I've been missing my own home country where I'm living now. But on our Big Name No Blankets tour that happened the first 3 months of that year, I finally got to go to where GR's home is, Gallowinku, which is a small island just off the coast of Arnhem Land.
Yeah.
And I got to see firsthand his saltwater country, and we lived like kings for 4 or 5 days on a remote part of the island, living off the sea and the land.
Yeah.
And all my boyhood dreams of doing that came to fruition.
Yeah.
It must have impacted me in a deep way. So anyway, at the end of the tour, I had to go back down south and do some promotion work for the band, and I was catching a bus from Melbourne to go to Sydney. And about 3 a.m. in the morning, I just suffered this longing to be somewhere I really belonged.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I was imagining being back in the boat with GR and his brother.
Yeah, beautiful.
And the words just come into my head, My Island Home is waiting for me. It seemed to match the longing I felt anyway. And as soon as it came, I just knew I got to write it for him to sing, because he's the lead singer. He needs to be singing more songs.
Yeah.
At that stage, I was still having to sing a lot myself, and we needed a good song, especially in English, that he'd really identify with. So I demoed it in Sydney, and when I got back up to Alice about a month later, I had it on a little cassette, just acoustic and vocal, and I saw him in Gap Road. I said, come over here, I got something. Come over and leaned in the side of the ute, and I pushed the cassette in the thing and pushed play, and he listened to the song. And when it finished, he said, that's number one. That's talking about my life.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, yeah, right. Great beauty. I knew he'd sing it then. So,
yeah. Awesome. Oh, that's amazing. Well, we're super thrilled to be that song is going to be incorporated through the festival. It'll be in our big opening concert on our brand new Narragunnawali stage, which is an Ngunnawal word meaning, coming together and feeling good and peaceful. That's going to be sung by a 250 voice choir who've been rehearsing. They've already had 2 weeks of rehearsals, and they're all learning a soprano, alto, tenor, bass, 4-part choir arrangement, and also with your blessing, the second verse and the second chorus have been translated into Ngunnawal language, and emerging Ngunnawal artist Alinta Barlow is going to be singing that with us and our in-house family band, the Houtman Trio, who are an amazing bunch of musos who are all born and bred in Canberra. Zoe Houtman on bass, Benny Houtman on guitar, who was actually Dr. G. Gurumal's guitarist for the last sort of 10 years of his life, and James, their little brother, on drums. And then we're going to close the festival, as you know, in the closing concert on Monday the 18th with another choir. This is a choir, the Folk Festival Choir, that are rehearsing every day, and they're learning Blackfella, Whitefella and My Island Home, but the Warrumpy version, whereas the Friday night will be a little more like Christine's, amazing.
Okay.
And then we'll raise the roof with Blackfella, Whitefella, and that's going to have a massive choir led by Stephen Taberner, who leads the Spooky Men's Chorale, who are sort of a legendary choir, and Greg Sheehan, who you probably know, amazing percussionist. Greg's going to do a big body percussion thing for that. He's already dreamt artwork, and so we're thrilled. And then of course you'll be presenting your own stuff with your collaborator Damien, I believe.
Damien Neal,
yeah.
Damien Neal is a guitarist, mandolin player.
Awesome.
He's been playing with me for more than a decade now. Yeah,
nice. Well, basically, I just wanted to have a quick yarn and say we're just thrilled to be having you at the National Folk Festival. You've played here before. When was the last time you played here?
Oh, I can't. It's quite a few years ago now.
Yeah.
I have played there a handful of times. But yeah, I just can't remember what year it was, but it was quite a few years ago. But yeah, I always enjoyed it.
Yeah. Cool.
The National seems to keep one foot in the real traditional kind of folk scene, which I think is good. It's necessary.
Yeah.
But is also flexible enough to have other sort of more contemporary styles as well.
Yeah, I think part of my job, well, what I've seen as part of my job is, so the reason why we're opening and closing with First Nations musical royalty is because they're bloody amazing, but also to signify the fact that this festival started in 1967, which of course is the year of the referendum where, the majority of Australians voted for, some form of recognition in our constitution.
Citizenship. Recognised citizenship.
Yeah. And then Yothi Yindi will be closing our main stage on the Monday night with Treaty, which sadly it's the 30th anniversary of that song. And, 5 years ago, the Makarrata Commission and the Uluru Statement from the Heart legislation was tabled and didn't go anywhere. So we're really hoping that this will open that conversation up again in our nation's capital. So part of my job, I think if we're the national anything, we obviously have to have connection with the elders of the country that we're making sounds and stories on.
Absolutely. You've got to have that blessing, for anything you do in anyone's country, really.
Yeah,
it just makes all the difference. And I think more and more people are starting to understand that and respect that. And
well, I've been very warmly, I've always, luckily through music, like we have music, so we've probably had connections with community and our First Nations families because we've had that special language of music, which breaks down all barriers. Whereas I think it's important for for us to acknowledge the country that we're on. And we're going to have a yarning circle with Ngunnawal elders on the Saturday, which will just be a come and meet the human library of the Ngunnawal elders in the afternoon. And we've got some weaving workshops and some dance workshops. And I'm very grateful that the board have written their first Reconciliation Action Plan. So I'm very much committed to, the ideals of the word Makarrata and what it means. But but also part of my other remit, I think, has been broadening the Church of Folk. You know, there has been a pretty strong Anglo-Celtic focus for the last decade, which of course is part of our folk, but it's no longer the complete definition, because Australia is such a beautiful, rich melting pot of, well, firstly, the oldest living culture in the world, but also a very multicultural experience.
Well, this is why Australia is a wonderful country to be in if you're a songwriter, because you're not by any one tradition that you're sort of compelled to master.
Yeah.
So the melting pot thing is a good description, really. I mean, even so, I think it's wide open. We're sort of kind of trying to, well, I've tried to anyway, I tried to deepen or help create a contemporary folk cultural heritage, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of, even the traditional folkies like to play a lot of the old stuff, which is great. I love that stuff, but we need new songs too, you know. To add to it.
In my, you know, I consider you absolutely a folk songwriter, and I consider My Island Home and Blackfella Whitefella are, you know, iconic songs that speak to who we are as a people, and that is the definition of folk. So, you know, I'm hoping to take that, and you know, all the really traditional folkies, they're beautiful people. They're really excited about young people exploring and discovering, you know, their music that they love, which is sort of, I guess, period music, for want of a better word or description. But yeah, I'm excited this year to have a whole bunch of fresh voices coming in and young artists coming in. And it's an amazing achievement that a folk festival that's completely community run, completely community owned, has survived for 55 years. You know, it's testament to the power of community and the power of
well, this is it, because it's coming from the land and the people in it. It's not a corporate or commercialized thing. This is what's really important in this land. There's two. You've got the groundswell, the art that comes up from the land, which includes the Indigenous heritage, rich Indigenous heritage, but all that comes up in response to the land and the times we're living in. And you've got this other corporate commercial world which pushes down on the stop, and that's money driven, you know. So it's immediately suspect, you know.
It's
artistic credentials are questionable, you know. So
it's a tricky one.
If you want authenticity, a folk festival's the place to go.
Absolutely. Well, we cannot wait to have you on Ngunnawal Country, you and your collaborator Damien, and we can't wait to celebrate your amazing songwriting legacy through My Island Home and Blackfella Whitefella, with hundreds and thousands of voices singing your notes. So yay, can't wait.
It'll be a spin out.
Spin out. Awesome. Well, be well, Neil, and we'll see you
too,
a handful of sleeps.
A few weeks. I got it.
All right. Take care.
See you there.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.